A sudden urgent letter brought Joe Palmer back to his hometown of Vicksburg, Mississippi, a place he hadn't stepped foot in over 6 years. Once known for its southern charm, Vicksburg now felt smaller and dimmer, like a town caught in time. The letter had been signed by Ruth Palmer, his stepmother. "Your father passed away last week. I felt you should know. The funeral is over. Come if you wish." No warmth, no details, and something about the tone unsettled Joe. Joe, once the golden boy of the Palmer family, had left Vicksburg to study philosophy at Yale, never looking back. His father, Thomas Palmer, a controlling, rigid man, had always wanted him to join the family's law firm. When Joe refused, a bitter rift had opened. They hadn't spoken since. But now, his father was dead, and Joe was back. The Palmer mansion stood at the edge of the town, its once pristine columns chipped and vines crawling up the brick walls like skeletal fingers. Ruth greeted him at the door with a strange expression, a blend of formality and relief. "You made it," she said coldly. "I would have come earlier, had you told me when he died," Joe said, stepping in. "He had a heart attack," she replied too quickly. "In his sleep." The house was quiet, too quiet. Where was Leo, Joe's younger half-brother? They had been close once, before Joe left. Leo had adored him. "He's not here?" Joe asked. Ruth shifted. "Leo's away, traveling. Europe, I think." Joe frowned. "He didn't come to the funeral?" She looked away. He had already left. Couldn't reach him. Something didn't sit right. That night, Joe wandered the house. His father's study was locked. Ruth said it had been that way since the funeral, claiming she didn't have the key. But Joe remembered where Thomas used to hide spares. In the back of the grandfather clock. He waited until Ruth went to bed. At midnight, he opened the study door. Dust floated in the air. Books and papers remained untouched. But what caught his eye was the desk drawer. Inside was a torn piece of stationery with Leo's handwriting. "He's watching me. I don't trust Ruth anymore. If anything happens to me..." The note stopped mid-sentence. Joe's blood ran cold. The next morning, Joe walked into town and visited Wade, an old family friend and the town's mechanic. Over coffee at the dusty diner, Joe asked about Leo. "Heard he was sick," Wade muttered. "Sick? What kind of sick?" Wade hesitated. "Look, people say things. Your dad kept him locked up for a while. Said it was for Leo's own good. Mental breakdown or something. But no one's seen him in months." Joe's chest tightened. "Did he ever leave town?" Wade looked around, lowered his voice. "No, and I doubt he ever did." Back at the mansion, Joe began searching the house. He found Leo's room sealed, windows shut, closet empty, but a faint scent of cologne lingered. In the hallway, the large family portrait had been altered. Leo's image had been painted over, just a blank silhouette now, like he'd never existed. Joe confronted Ruth at dinner. "You didn't tell me he was sick." She sipped wine. "It was a delicate matter. He wrote me a letter weeks ago. I found part of it in Father's study." Ruth's eyes darkened. "You were gone for 6 years. Don't act like your brother now." Joe pushed his plate away. Where is he, Ruth? A pause. I told you. You're. Joe stared at her. You're lying. That night, Joe couldn't sleep. The mansion seemed to breathe. He kept thinking of Leo, of the strange dreams he'd had since arriving. Echoes of footsteps, whispers, a cry for help. Wandering again, he found himself at the indoor pool, a place the brothers had spent countless childhood hours. But now, it was drained. At the bottom lay a shoe, Leo's shoe. Joe reeled. He ran his fingers over the cracked tile near the drain. Something metallic, a bracelet engraved with Leo's initials. Joe backed away horrified. He confronted Ruth the next morning, bursting into the kitchen. Tell me what happened to Leo. She didn't flinch. Instead, she calmly buttered a slice of toast. Your father was going to leave everything to Leo, she said. Despite everything, even after the breakdown. But Leo, he couldn't handle it. The pressure. He became violent, paranoid. Joe's voice trembled. That's not true. He tried to hurt me, she said, cold eyes glinting. Thomas sent him away, and when he came back weeks later, raving, wild, he fell into the pool. Joe's breath caught. You left him there? Ruth's smile thinned. I protected this family. And now you'll leave, Joe, just like before. That night, Joe packed his bags, but not to leave. He called the sheriff, but no action could be taken without proof. So he returned to the study, searching, hoping. Behind a false panel in the bookshelf, he found it. A dusty cassette tape, labeled Leo's final recording. He played it. Leo's voice, frantic, scared. She's poisoning him. She wants the estate. If you're hearing this, I'm probably gone. Joe, please, come home. Joe's heart pounded. Ruth stood at the doorway. I told you not to go digging, she said softly. Joe turned, tape still playing. You killed him, and you let father die. I did what had to be done. Joe pulled out his phone. I recorded this too. Her mask cracked. She lunged. A struggle ensued. A lamp fell. Flames licked the drapes. Joe escaped the room as fire spread. The Palmer mansion burned to the ground. Ruth survived, but the evidence, Leo's bracelet, the tape, was enough. She was arrested for manslaughter and obstruction, eventually convicted. Joe stayed in Vicksburg, took over the law firm his father left behind. He turned Leo's room into a study, framed the old family portrait, restored Leo's face smiling once again. Every evening, Joe walks by the pool, now filled, cleaned, and silent. And sometimes, he swears he hears laughter, two boys racing each other in the summer sun. If you enjoyed the video, like and share the video, and subscribe the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.